Pues yo llegué a México sin conocer a muchas personas y realmente a partir de la maestría surgieron muy buenas oportunidades laborales con las que en realidad soñaba incluso antes de empezar la maestría. Una de las cosas que aprendí en la maestría en vivienda es a no entender la vivienda de la forma tradicional, moderna, que es la compartimentación de los espacios domésticos, sino entenderla a partir de dinámicas familiares, de otros tipos de habitantes, una vivienda entre roomies, como es una vivienda para una abuela y su nieta. Un cambio que hubo en mí fue como una capacidad de sorprenderme en cosas que normalmente daba por sentadas. Mi nombre es Bettina Rincón y estudié la maestría de vivienda en CENTRO.
Más que arquitectos, van a egresar de estudiantes con nuevas formas de hacer arquitectura. Vas a salir sabiendo cómo presentar un proyecto, vas a salir sabiendo cómo diseñar, pero cómo diseñar desde formas inimaginables. Entender que la belleza es un derecho básico para todos, entender que queremos aquí tocar temas de resiliencia, de sustentabilidad, desde un lugar de lógica, desde un entendimiento de cómo generar abundancia a partir de la escasez.
Buenas noches, bienvenidos a una conferencia más, Arquitectura en Centro, y pues presentarles a los ponentes. ¿Hacía eco? Sí, el día de hoy tenemos con nosotros a Cherubino Gambardella y a Simona Otteri, arquitectos de Nápoles, de Italia, que están aquí con nosotros estos días y les pedimos que nos compartieran pues, su trabajo. Cherubino Gambardella es arquitecto, es profesor de arquitectura en la universidad y sobre todo, bueno, tiene una obra compleja, diversa, pero sobre todo hay un conjunto de proyectos en el que parte del rescate, a veces de estructuras preexistentes, y es capaz de darles un nuevo sentido, una nueva lectura con su arquitectura contemporánea, en ese diálogo entre una preexistencia que no siempre es una preexistencia valiosa. Hay algún proyecto en el que sí, que interviene algún edificio, digamos, de valor histórico, como una torre medieval, pero en otros casos son simplemente estructuras casi encontradas, ¿no? como objetos abandonados y que en ese reciclaje les da una nueva vida y que me parece que es un modo interesantísimo y creo que es un aprendizaje para todos nosotros que vamos a tener que considerar ese modo de actuar sobre muchos de nuestros, a veces, solo estructuras a medio construir o a veces edificios que ya estaban ahí para otro uso y que les podemos dar un nuevo significado. Con él tuvimos oportunidad de publicar este libro, un libro sobre su trabajo que le llamamos Bellezza Imperfecta, Belleza Perfecta, y que recoge unos 14 proyectos que dan esa cuenta de ese diálogo permanente entre una cierta preexistencia y su trabajo. Va a dar una primera plática y después Simona Otteri nos va a mostrar también su trabajo de interiorismo, de diseño de interiores, que también es una práctica sumamente interesante en ese diálogo, pues ahora sí, como diseño interiores, pues dentro ya de una arquitectura determinada. Pues agradecerles a ellos, mille grazie di partecipare con noi il vostro lavoro e benvenuti a Centro.
Molte grazie. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to MIquel. Thank you to you that are here and so late to listen our conference. And I won't begin for half an hour about showing our project, but especially on architecture and on a singular way to do architecture, using pre-existing structures and transforming it without demolition. But this is just a little different from only a additive practice. Is exactly a transformation. We don't add more cube or more surface to building, but we change completely the sense of the building, transforming its face in another actual face. In this case, this is some sketches that are before the restoration project of the Casa del Fascio, the very famous Italian architect Giuseppe Terragni. And we was the winners of the competition for the restoration 4 or 5 years ago. And after we done the restoration, we decided to organize our action only on a few points, especially on these points that doesn't exist when we arrived in Lissone for the first time. And after we decided to work on other elements that was completely lost and disappeared, so was the building when we arrived, completely destroyed, as you can see. And our work is based, this is the rear, completely altered. You cannot see the trees of a masterpiece of contemporary architecture in this elevation. So we transform this in something of fix. In the idea of Terragni, these false windows or these false elements suspended was in rotation. But now is impossible because the actual law are not don't tell us to do something that is rotating, and we imagine to transform it as a sculpture, a fixed sculpture, so you can use these elements like a natural machine with the shadow and with the climate. And so it's something that gives to the building a mystery that building lost. So you can see from another point of view, and we found also an orange pillar that you see, because Terragni don't was a rationalist white architect that paint of white all his building. This is a legend. Terragni used a lot of colors, and like orange, like some blue, like some sky colors, and some gray. We use this gray, and we use these lines to simulate the old windows. And we have these moving elements. This is the restoration of the main facade at the fin, at the end of the works. And we work also on the cover of the sacristy with this glass structure. And we changed the cover of the tower. And we worked on the restoration also of the interior space using this fantastic floor that Terragni designed in marble and in blue plaster. This is the rectorate of Camerino University. You can see 2 bridge buildings that are in cross. This building was one of my first works at the beginning of my career. And I worked on a closed block in marble that see toward the valley. and some gray elements that are very regular and looks toward the center of this Italian city. This is inspired on the work of Le Corbusier, as you can see. I have also small windows that permits to see some beautiful place of this valley that seems painted from Piero della Francesca. And also these other elements. But this is the last building I done. Is the rectorate in Caserta, near the Royal Palace. These are sketches. I do always my sketch before, but are not sketch done to be beautiful, but to understand are very important for me. So this is my idea for the building, something that used old building. Before there was, this is the Royal Palace of Caserta. That is a fantastic and very important building. And very close to the Royal Palace, there is the rectorate, as you can see. How? It's of 1750. 1750 was done by Luigi Vanvitelli. So you can see the Royal Palace, the gardens, and so the building, the existing building. And in this case, you can see the fantastic garden, the Royal Palace, the elliptic place, and the street that goes to Naples. And you have the railway, and this is the old post depot that we transformed into rectorate. This now is another building of my university that was the post office and the post depot for camions and other elements. This was when I see the first time the building. But this building had a lot of things that was very interesting for me. I think that when we have a budget of 5 million, and with 5 million we have to do a complete work, I say to my rector, it's not useful that I demolish all and I rebuilt 3 buildings as you want: a restaurant, an office building, an auditorium. Maybe better that I connect all in a single building using the structure that already exists. So I don't have to excavate, and I can use the roof that exists. They do the analysis. There was not amianto or other toxic elements, and so I decided to transform the building. This was the interior. It was very suggestive because there was the light that goes inside. You have the system prefabricated, and was very strange for me to imagine to demolish a so good building to do another thing. And so this is the volume of the building as I found. After I decided to open 3 patios, I need to have 2 lines of offices. I put these new walls to have a good isolation and a good isolation and thermic prestazioni. Now you can see the interior. You have all the block of the offices. I think that the corridor in my architecture is very important. So this is the patios, These rooms takes light from the patios, these internal rooms. This other takes from out and internal patios. This is the rector room, the assistant room, and the older function. This is the small auditorium that is probably the most iconic part of the building. And you have also part for didactic, and you have two big space. This space can be divided into other spaces. So at the second level, there is the general direction, and this is the restaurant. So I do auditorium, restaurant, didactic, office, and what they ask me, without demolish nothing, only transforming. This is the project section. I decided to be inspired to the work of Clorindo Testa and other South American architects that I like very much. And this is the lines of the new walls, suspended and used to reinforce the new building. These are the old elements for natural lights that I let, and all the other elements that there was. I let also this slab because it's very beautiful, and I put under the slab the volume of the auditorium. These are internal. Oh, and you can see now how we realized this building. This is the building ended, and this is the volume in silver. The building doveva essere, have to be all green, but authorities decided the colors at the end. But I think that it's good at the same. And this is the line of new building. And so you can see the spaces. External, internal. This is the internal spaces. The internal spaces are not very tall at beginning, after they are very high. And you can understand, as is interesting, this changing. Simona designed all the furniture and rector rooms with this anthropomorphic library. And this is the auditorium that is done with some elements that are useful for acoustic. And the interior road, these are part of the natural lights elements. So you have this that is an enormous room, route. This change direction, this connect space, and all. And these are the interiors. This is the other side, where you have the space for didactic. So I decided to have these elements to separate and to define a rhythm. This was all the columns that you see when was white. I completely changed in a very strong elements in gold. These are the main room, 400 persons, people, sliding doors, the other, and these offices and all the interior elements. I don't demolish also the staircase, also is not very beautiful, but I think that my very incredible rail use something of popular and pop in this strange space. As you can see, this is the relation between the two corridors. Upper part, and this is a small work that I love very much, because the a religious company say me to gift a project for a school for bread in Senegal, and this school have to cost 30,000 euros or dollars, the same, less or more. And so I understood the difference between something that is useful and something is necessary in architecture. In this case, I work only on what is absolutely necessary. You cannot do anything because everything has a cost. Also a door, a window, a bathroom, all cost. So you have to work on two-level school with a external staircase, because you cannot do internal staircase, and was not too easy, not very easy, too difficult to destroy a slab to do an interior staircase. So this was the place before beginning to build, and this was like a workplace of 3,000 years ago. And this was the place during construction. So you see the people is something of very remote. They use something of similar to do a pillar. And this was the sketch. This was the first project that Adalberto Libera did in Capri for Casa Malaparte. And this project was not built because the Casa Malaparte changed in the actual masterpiece for the diverse opinion of Malaparte. And I draw something of similar. This was an element very strongly inspirational for me. So I designed something with a shadow and elements very simple, very easy. And so there is a conceptual trip from Capri to Cal. These are the drawings of the school, and this is the school ended. So you have this fantastic plaster that is a plaster that you have only in Senegal, is with iron and other metals. So its color is so similar to violet. And I don't paint the school. I use only white. And this railing was took from a ship in the harbor of Dakar. This is the window where the people gives the bread. When they do the bread, they give the bread to the people from this window. And also in this case, we have two levels. And this is the staircase that we done in Marseille, in Europe, and we transport. Only this staircase, the cost of this staircase was $3,000. And so I think a lot to how I can do and economize for this staircase. And I put these two pillars to help the staircase and to stay on. the school had a very big success, and the incredible dimension of the stars of this equatorial sky is very, very strong as a fact, as you can see. And now this is the school after 3 years where the principle of oxidation is already done. This is the interior. And now they use as a school for other arts and other crafts for people of Kel. And I am very happy of this work, because this work is probably something of very interesting without a lot of attention to the shape, but there is a strange attention to the shape of this building. A school where I done other elements in Naples. I go quickly, fast.
This is a special project from Radio Children, that is a, come si può dire, an association.
An association is a very important association for education program in Italy. And this is the ruins of the Scampia station in Naples. So it appears when I take the work. And this was the scene that I see when I was in the first phase. Was like an earthquake or like something that was bombing. And I begin a battle to don't destroy, because the structure is very strong, it's very costosa, expensive, and they go to take, the people go to take the train in this condition is very, very, very impossible. So I imagine to complete the building with a very simple, using the existing structure, covering the existing structure, and transform this cave space in an occasion of something that is a mix of homage to architecture of Team 10, like Aldo van Eyck, Ralph Erskine, and other architects that I like very much. So you have the section.
This station is a part of a. This station is a part of a big system of a station of arts that are constructed in the city and outside the city of Naples. It's a big system that
Metropolitan station. Every station has a lot of inside, a lot of artworks of very famous European artists like Michelangelo Pistoletto and Mimo Palladino and other, a lot, Anish Kapoor, many others. So you can see the part of this strange 90 years project. And we worked on the facade. Simona decided to do a jewel to transform this black and very
Scampia is the neighbor of Gomorra that in the maybe you know is a very come si dice malfamato quartiere, very hard place of the city with the high criminality, and this is like a necklace that give light and come si dice preziosità,
preciosity
and light to the facade.
To the facade. Sì. This is the relation between the external part with this big element for the entrance. After you have the gate and you can go inside. This is during the night. And this is the internal space with artworks on the walls. I finished that like an industrial building. I decided to work with a very simple iron panel and to have this element that is like a cluster inside an empty space. And when you go under this space, there is the music that goes. So you have the idea of Neapolitan culture, musical culture of the periphery. Staircase, like a monster. You have the end. This was finished during the COVID period. Was an incredible project, also this, like Rettorato in Caserta. This was an old project of Metro Loreto, Milano, was the project of Franco Albini and Bob Norda. We won the competition and we transformed this space in something very different and similar at meantime. And after you have a lot of other projects that you can see in the book that Miquel showed you, that we done. And for me, drawing is very important. And probably this is a project that is not in the book, but I like very much because it's like a battle between two monsters. So you have a first part of the building is a parking area. And you have this part that is suspended completely, 17 meters. We have two columns that maintains this pencil. And this is like a prehistoric animal. So the two things are not exact in relation, but they stay in front of this building of the early 70s that is not very interesting, but I imagine this like something that I can add to an existing thing to transform its shape. It's not a packing, it's something more. Commercial space, I go very quickly. Very big building. Other works. And I want to arrive, I go quick, I go fast because I want to arrive to, this is a villa, a small villa near Salerno, in a place very beautiful. This was the existing building. I don't demolish the building. And I transform this, changing the function and adding a part.
Yeah, may I share a question that someone is doing related to the materials that you use in the metro station?
Yeah.
How you choose, and also in this university building, how you choose the new materials to deal with the existing building? In not only the colors, but the materials.
For me, it's important to have materials that are very good for the thermic isolation and climate and panel of some Italian and European factory that has good dimension and prestations. And so I can put these, and when the engineer calculate the prestation, the building is in A class for the and these buildings are not before I was not in A class or neither in platinum class. So when I have much money to spend, I arrive to platinum class and I can use. But in south of Italy, the real problem is that we have not a lot of money to do architecture. So we have to think how we can obtain a result using good materials, not very expensive, and or traditional or very strange, like in this case. In this case, we use before the house was a normal house and was total full of humidity, and was because the walls are not so deep to maintain the hot or the cold. So the first thing that I thought is I have to transform the walls in something of more bigger. So it's better. This is completely isolated on 4 sides. So the wind is very strong. And so this house during the winter is very, very cold. And during the summer is very hot. And so I decided to add these that are orange pluvial, orange tubes, and I put inside concrete. And so with concrete and with these, come si dice, schiuma poliuretanica, tu puoi aumentare l'inerzia e il comfort interno è migliore, è molto migliore. E l'immagine esterna è un po' spiazzante. It's very not usual to see. And also, this was tiles that I designed for my client, and this was done in Vietri sul Mare. There is an important fabric of ceramic, decorated ceramic. So I put inside this vertical element and these other elements. And it's very important to use the cornice, because this is like a brise-soleil, protects during the summer and permits the sun to go inside during the winter. This is like a glass house without glass. And is a plastic house. This is the interior. This was the limit of the existing structure. I changed and reinforced. I add this part, the new part toward the kitchen to connect the space. And I use all the space is completely done in white tiles. So I have not a lot of problem with humidity. This is Golden Building. Was my first work. One of my first work was 25 years ago. But it's a very famous building because it was published a lot of times. And when I arrived in this place, my clients say, you can do all you want, but you can't demolish this. And this was for me like an illumination. And I understood that was possible. Before I never think to don't demolish. This is was a very strange work for me. And I changed the skeleton, the shape, yes, of this building. Using this is the plan. I used these elements like storage, like elements for storage, suspended. Yes. And I divided the building in 3 apartments, in 3 flats for every floor. And this was probably inspired to Gambardella, Archittect, probably Sostres, Moragas, many architects that are very important for my formation. And this is a big hat. So I transformed the cornice in a big hat of 4 meters. You have this that is 4 meters, cover the street. So this is the building finished. You have this image. We tried golden painting for 5 months with sequence before using, because I have to be sure that for 10, they guarantee for 10 years. And so the painting don't become green, because the problem was that this painting can become a green painting. This is at the beginning of the historical center of this old city in Campania. And you can see the Rocca with an ancient tomb, Roman tomb, some other historical elements. And this is the shape of the building. And after, I was the winner of a competition, and they gave me the work to transform the square. And I imagine a serpentine in inox with these elements that maintain the green. So the green, when it goes up, close completely the space. White Bunker is the first of my skeleton villas. This is a skeleton villa in Sperlonga, near the sea in Italy, in a very beautiful place. This was the terrible skeleton, concrete skeleton that I found. And my clients say, I want to have a lot of things that you can add to the building. So I say, yes, I try. And I try to add all these things, and I transform the building in this building, using also in this case, Knauf wall to have a good thermal inertia. And this is a white crackle. It's completely finishing in white crackle. The second one is immediately under the first. And the same client asked to me, transform also this. Was in 2014. And he say me, in this case, I want that you do some Palladian villa. And was I want a lot of column. So I imagine something of similar and use a plastic orange column, but in this case, I painted in white. So there is the green, and after a secondary structure to have shadow. And I maintained the building, but it was very difficult to follow the skeleton, because I think that is very important to follow the skeleton without to transform this occasion in something that is a architecture for a art gallery. I think that is important to do a real architecture that you can use as a normal house, also if there is an old skeleton that maintains the structure. This is our site, swimming pool, and the basement when there is the guest house. I go fast. All these elements are elements that I use from Joe Ponti and Bernard Rudowski, that are Italian and Austrian architects, very interesting for me. Oh, the north facade is completely closed to protect during the winter from the wind. There is not windows, only a door, one door, where you can go inside. This is a penthouse, you know. This is I go fast and stop. This is our last project. Is under construction. This is a vacation house in Positano for some friends, and these are drawings inspired to Bernard Rudowski's work. This is the actual situation. And this is the fantastic site that you have the 5 islands of Galli, Capri, Positano. It's a very beautiful place. Cluster Bio-Mediterraneo. And I end so with this work. Another competition that I won. Simona.
Buenas tardes. Allora, io intento hablar español, escribí alguna nota para ayudarme. Allora, yo soy Simona Otteri, trabajo desde 25 años con Cherubino Gambardella. En todos los proyectos de los últimos 20 años hay la contribución de ambos, aunque en algunos prevalece él, en otros soy yo, mas siempre son el resultado de una comparación constante. En los últimos años yo me he dedicado con gran joya, con gran felicidad a los proyectos de exposiciones, que come va avanti? Ok, de exposiciones que creo son una oportunidades muy interesantes de experimentación. Pienso que diseñar una exposición es como representar una historia que fue escrita por uno o más curadores. Tú tienes que convertir la historia en imágenes. Queste immagini devono essere clare e fascinanti para todos. Nuestros proyectos nunca son discretos, neutral, sino que son siempre muy expresivos. Esta es sin duda una de nuestras características siempre, pero en el caso de equipamientos, es también un instrumento que utilizamos para dar mayor énfasis a la historia que raccontiamo. Otro tema muy importante es el de espacio que alberga la exposición, es con el que debe compararse il progetto. Sto un po' leggendo perché non so parlare spagnolo. Allora, Esto es Plastic Village, un refugio para personas sin hogar, una instalación que fu encargada por el Museo del Plástico de Nápoles, il PLART, e costruita en el interior del museo. Esta es una de las mías preferidas, Thalassa, la primera gran exposición de arqueología subacuática. Había que exponer más de 400 archaeological finds de varios países mediterráneos en la sala de la Meridiana, il reloj de sol. La sala alberga la famosa scultura Atlante Farnese. Todo diciamo, l'equipamiento parte da Atlante. Las 7 secciones toman la forma de 7 constelaciones, tal como están rappresentadas en el globo che sostiene Atlante. Vedete Atlante, eccolo qua. Muy espectacular es el arreglo de propio Atlante, una máquina escénica hecha de espejos, muestra en una sola mirada la escultura de diferentes puntos de vista. Las constelaciones islas fueron hechas de tablero de OSB, pintado con pintura de agua. En la parte superior in fierro, si vedono, ecco qua, in fierro, lleva tanto los faros que iluminan las obras, tanto las bombillas que, como las estrellas, diseñan la constelación. So hay 2 constellations, one down to take the object, one up with the light.
2 constellations.
Esta exhibición había exposiciones satélite más pequeñas en otro lugar del Museo Arqueológico di Napoli, el MAN.
Es la nave subterránea.
Esto es muy difícil de proyecto de exposiciones porque los curadores no tenían muy claro cómo representar sus ideas. Aquí trabajamos reconstruyendo la imagen de una ciudad. Las distintas áreas temáticas, secciones temáticas, son salas que se cruzan, ensanche, plazas que pudieran acoger eventos temporales. En este caso, utilizamos paneles de madera recuperados de otra exposición. Todo el proyecto se adaptó a los paneles. La muestra se llama Gusto, sabor. Era muy difícil transformar las ideas de los curadores en imágenes because there weren't objects. There are only ideas. This is the table of design, and under there are many objects from a private collection linked to the kitchen. These are the reproduction of a very famous chef plates of Italian cuisine, and in front of you the plates that in Italiano is named del buon ricordo. That I think is a facilely simple understand. Buon ricordo. Okay. This is the kitchen of the future for a famous for Siemens that fabric these electrodomestic, very technological, ecco. And okay, Riparo Rosso is a box, is a box to with the
some windows too.
To look inside. You can't go inside. You can only see from outside inside. Is a very small installation. This is this is a This is an exhibition of hats in a museum of fashion, Naples. This is the collection of a Cherubino grandmother. And this is I think that is a Cherubino moment because this is the work only of Cherubino.
And this is like a sculpture in Modern Art Museum of Naples. And this work was, the drawings of this work was exposed from Barry Bergdol and Pedro Gadagno in MoMA of New York, cut and passed in 2013. I don't remember, but I realized this work, and this was my library in my office. After I designed this space, and I before calculate what I need to put my books, and after I designed this, and so I immediately understand what may be the second life of this building. That was very expressive. The building was done by Alvaro Siza, the existing building in Naples, and this the restoration, and this is the library, and nobody knows at the moment that was a library, and I say that is a very important structure and with a lot of very beautiful words, but was my library and stock. And this is Vita con gli oggetti, and this was a work on the shape of the objects. We worked on the bottle in the Venice Biennale in 2010, and this is the installation, are like domes or this is the space. It's very difficult to explain. I am with Andrea Branzi, that is an Italian designer, to see, because you have to use a staircase, and you arrive at a new level where you can see the work in Arsenale. This is also in Royal Palace in Caserta, Casa di Re, domestic dimension of the house of a king. This is the horse of the king, the horse when arrived, and the royal La Guardia Reale. A collection, this is the timeline, a collection of building in another building. This is a theme that we like very much to do. And now I give this is Divina Sezione, is the same place, is an exhibition for the anniversary of Dante.
Sí, en este caso había que exponer 70 diseños de 70 arquitectos italianos en la sala del Palacio Real de Caserta, la misma de Casa di Re. El material era muy variado porque los arquitectos invitados habían dado loro interpretación of the space of Divina Commedia di Dante. So I decided to divide the exhibition in 3 parts. The first one was very was on the ground floor, and you have to look down to see the objects. The second part was made by walls. This is the entrance, because with the entrance, the big porta, the big door, you go inside the world extra world.
Yes.
Ultraterreno, mondo ultraterreno. This is the inferno, the representation of the inferno. So you have to go look down to see the operas. The only exception is the little tower that is Michele De Lucchi opera. Then this wall are the purgatorio, so you have to look in front of you. And the final part is the Paradiso, when you have to look up to see the operas. And this work was made in carton gesso, carton avevo scritto? No, carton yellow, no, vabbè, sono le in carton gesso, because it was the sponsor was Knauf, and the structural part in aluminium was expressed like a decoration. This exhibition was smontata and desmontata and then remontata in Palazzo Trinci in Perugia, and then the last tappa of this tour.
Yeah.
Of this tour is in Pisa for the Biennale of Robotica.
And this is the last 2 work. One of these is in the book, and Riccardo Flores and Eva Prats wrote a very beautiful text on this small capilla. There is a space for 2 people in the final part of an ancient basilical complex in my region, and so you can see the space and the 2 seats pointed at one in front of the other. The cross and these two come si dice,
Seats.
2 seats are disposed so everyone can see in the eyes the other. And this is, for me, a very economic and very important work, because I think it's a poetic space. And there's another work based on the same elements that I do near the church of Anacapri. And there is a second chapel of the dome of Anacapri that I do this summer. Thank you.
Yeah, we have time for some questions. I would like to begin with a question about one project that I didn't know, and I like it very much. The exhibition that you deal with the idea of the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Cielo, all the idea of Dante. Dante Alighieri e la Divina Commedia, and there is a connection with what Giuseppe Terrani did, that he
Yes.
did one of the most beautiful projects that have never been built.
We think a lot to Dante. Simona probably can answer better because the project is.
Yes, the Divina Sezione. When I had to measure myself with a great team and a great space, I thought about the idea of the three cantiche of the Divina Commedia, and I decided to use the movement of the head to connect the vision with the idea that we have about the Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso.
It's a very simple way. Terrani has a very complex philosophy because it's a
very difficult
spiral.
Because I have many drawings from many architects, but the material was very come posso dire, various. So the space was very difficult because Reggio di Caserta is a place muy rico, and so I think that the white structure and the movement of the head could resolve the difficult to stay in that place with that all drawings that you can see that were very difficult also to select in the different areas. And the part of the Inferno is very moved to give an idea of complexity.
It seems very difficult to deal with this space because there is a lot of decoration, a lot of materials. So whatever you do, you have the images of the ceiling, the walls, no? So
in every way you see, you have something to see. And so for us, it was a very big problem to understand how to do something that may have to be different from the ancient exhibition of 2004 House of King, that for us was something that we have in the mind and was difficult to forget. Now to do a completely different, smaller thing, three only elements, the action of this, and stop. So in three different position of your head, you try to have a synthesis of the three cantiche of Dante. And probably for me, that I studied in my doctoral thesis, the Danteum, I know that was a project very difficult for Giuseppe Terrani, because he works with Pietro Lingeri, that was his friend, but they have a lot of problem. So the building was not built, but probably if we have today the Danteum of Giuseppe Terrani, we have one of the most beautiful buildings of the last century, because especially the last open air room with the glass 33 column, you have 100, when you go inside, you have 100 of columns that are the simulation of the Selva. After you have two quad spiral, where you have Purgatory, and after you have Paradiso, that has the dimension incredible of these 33 vitreous columns that are took from the Kiss Hall of Parma, la sala del bacio a Parma. Parmigianino, that was an Italian painter, painted for the first time, and after also Andrea Mantegna, this column, vitreous column, that organized the space of this third level. So you have a space of reflection. In this case, it's very difficult to have a synthesis. And perhaps this physical and very simple action of the movement of the head resolved this problem with a very incredible budget. I think 5,000 euros, something of similar. No, nothing. Always nothing for our architect.
¿Tienen alguna pregunta? ¿Algún comentario?
I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of things to say. First, I love that you work with Terrani's work, because I think history has been very mean with the legacy of Terrani. The second, I'm very impressed with the way you represent your ideas in drawings. Those first images, I was trying to grab them, almost to grab them. I think even some of the people who are following us online were asking about those images too. And now there's the question is, I'm very intrigued about the way you use materials like the school in Senegal, or how you treat the terrazos. Maybe I'm very intrigued because it's very, as Simona said, very showy, very intense. No, this is very, very beautiful and very different from at least what I'm used to.
Yes, I think that our work is very divisive. We have two strange architects because we are always in the wrong place. And we are able to be always in the wrong place because we think that we have to show something that you cannot find. I think that a sexual relation with the materials, with the body of architecture, have to be done without something of similar. Probably now architecture, international architecture, are all very similar. They use, especially in Europe. For us, our first viaggio, the trip, travel in Mexico is a revelation. We know a lot of our friends that works in Latino America, like Pezzo and Sofia von Errichhausen, or Giancarlo Mazzanti, or other different architects, Milan Radic, Alejandro Aravena, and other. But I never seen, they are very interesting, but I think that young architects are more similar to us that are old architects because they are not institutional. For me, it was very interesting to visit that place in Mexico City. There was a party, that courtyard with a green work in iron of probably one architect, or was incredible because in this case, also this architect was in the wrong part, and he done a work that was not beautiful and come dire tranquillizzante I think that now we have not emotions. Architecture don't have emotion. And sometimes in Latin America architecture, you have this dimension, and that we find very similar to our way to do architecture. So in Italy, we are like too crazy that are do a strange architecture. But in this case, I think that many architects do a research that is not based on a very clean and clear space, because I think that in the life, the space is never clean and never clear. Sure. Never. Not probably a city with a clear and space is not interesting. It's not a city. Sure. I think, because city needs to have these different things, and not with the excess of Bob Venturi on other, but that is a natural condition. Nobody can accept this condition. The imperfection is the future of architecture for me.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I got some question from Catherine Torres on YouTube. So she says, when you are looking for materials to cover the exterior of a building, what are you mainly looking for? How aesthetically pleasing they are to see, or functionality? Okay, sorry. When you are looking for materials to cover the exterior of a building, what are you mainly looking for? How aesthetically pleasing they are to see, or functionality?
Both. Both, because we have a very narrow street so you have to work. Probably our building have not spectacular functions. They have the chance to work on the obsession of common elements, like corridor, windows, railing, balconies, and other elements that are absolutely part of the city. But if you look to these elements with different eyes, in every of this element, you can find something that you never seen before, and nobody never see before. So you can transform a balcony in a triumph of your project. It's not one balcony, 3 windows, 1 corridor, colors, that elements that are necessary to have a good building that resists in the time. So is our process. We have not more a theory, because I studied the 30-year theory of architecture. I know all. I come si dice, ho letto, wrote a lot of books. But I, now that I am 60, this year I am 60, I want to forget. I need to forget all I studied. And I have to work only on what is really useful for me. Because I think that this luxury I can take at this moment of my career. It's important to forget some elements and to concentrate on the things that I know how it's possible to do.
Awesome, thanks. Y tengo una pregunta para Simona. ¿Está bien si está en español? Porque la comentaron en español.
Sí, okay.
¿Qué tal si la riego? Ok. Pregunta que cómo está relacionada entonces la curaduría con las exposiciones y la arquitectura.
I think that the design, intended design, like a project, make project, is only one. You can design a building, a furniture, an exhibition structure, and the method for me is the only one. So the relationship between architecture and exhibition is very close, and my approach is the same.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, both of you.
So, well, thank you very much. Great lecture. Thank you for sharing with us your knowledge, your projects, and we are very pleased to be here in Mexico with you. Thank you very much. Y muchas gracias a los que nos acompañan hoy.
Pues yo llegué a México sin conocer a muchas personas y realmente a partir de la maestría surgieron muy buenas oportunidades laborales con las que en realidad soñaba incluso antes de empezar la maestría. Una de las cosas que aprendí en la maestría en vivienda es a no entender la vivienda de la forma tradicional, moderna, que es la compartimentación de los espacios domésticos, sino entenderla a partir de dinámicas familiares, de otros tipos de habitantes, una vivienda entre roomies, como es una vivienda para una abuela y su nieta. Un cambio que hubo en mí fue como una capacidad de sorprenderme en cosas que normalmente daba por sentadas. Mi nombre es Bettina Rincón y estudié la maestría de vivienda en CENTRO.
Más que arquitectos, van a egresar estudiantes con nuevas formas de hacer arquitectura. Vas a salir sabiendo cómo presentar un proyecto, vas a salir sabiendo cómo diseñar, pero cómo diseñar desde formas inimaginables. Entender que la belleza es un derecho básico para todos, entender que queremos aquí tocar temas de resiliencia, de sustentabilidad, desde un lugar de lógica, desde un entendimiento de cómo generar abundancia a partir de la escasez.